Okay. So, for instance, if what you're doing is adding a client here and then going back into the appointment book and finding the customer, you're right, that's too many steps, unnecessary. Right here in the appointment book, you have a client button. I can left click to pull up a customer that's already in the database, or I can right click to add somebody brand new. So for instance, if I'm going to add somebody here, I'm going to add Haley, and last name will just say Wiggins. Now I can hit more information if I need to, or I can hit add now. Let's go ahead and hit add now. Her information is now here, and I can now go through the process of booking the appointment. So I can choose a massage, I can choose a head 60 and book the appointment with Anna. It asks me what room I want to be in. We'll say the herbal room, and I'm booked. So Haley Wiggins is now booked with Anna in the herbal room. The whole process should take about 30 seconds or less. If they're already in the database, I can book an appointment in about 7 seconds.
Okay. So when you brought up the client and then it hit more, is that where we would hit that icon to go in and put the credit card number in?
If you're hitting more, it's so that you can take additional information other than what you already see here. So for instance, when we're adding here, I can take first and last name, I can take up to 3 different telephone numbers and an email address, as well as how they heard about us. And then I can press add now. Or, as you suggested, I can certainly hit the more button. So I can add somebody here, we'll say Julie, and we'll say Kern, take in a cell phone number, 555-999-3333. And now I'm going to hit more. So that is the basic information that's already in there. Now I can take a whole lot more information, her address, her occupation, her email, and yes, I can store a credit card on file, but I need you to understand, you cannot store a credit card on file unless you are using our preferred credit card provider, and the reason for that is because of PCI DSS requirements. Our software is PCI DSS certified only with our preferred provider. Now that does not mean that you can't use another credit card processor. You absolutely can. You just can't store a card on file. And of course, you're not processing directly through the software. You're going to be processing through a separate terminal. The ability to store a card on file, understand that a card itself, the actual number itself is not really stored here. And what I mean by that is you might see 12 X's and the last 4 digits. But those 12 X's are not actually covering numbers. It is essentially just letting you know that you have, in fact, stored a card. The number itself does not exist in the software. When you hit your little guy here, and you're able then to put in all of the credit card information by swiping the card or by typing it in manually, what actually happens is that the credit card information is given over to Vantive Mercury. That's our preferred provider. And they then create what's called the token. This is called tokenization. What you're actually storing in our software is a token, not the credit card information itself. That way, if you chose to charge a card without the card being present, what's happening is the software then sends the token to the credit card company. That credit card company then is able to use that token to gather all of the necessary credit card information that they have stored in order to process the card and send your money over to the bank. The benefit of doing that, the PCI DSS regulations, that's the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards. If somebody were to get a hand on your data, they would not have any of your credit card information, your customer's credit card information. They would only have tokens, which would be worthless to them because they would also need your merchant ID number with your credit card company, and they would need all of the necessary coding that goes with that, for instance, your location, et cetera, et cetera. So they can't steal your data and get your client's credit card information, and that's what tokenization is there for. And that's why if you're going to store, if you're quote-unquote going to store credit cards on file, you must be using our preferred provider. So you're using a separate terminal with another provider, and that's perfectly fine. You can certainly keep track of your credit card sales, et cetera, through our software, but you're not storing credit cards on file, and you're not processing directly through the software, although you are still keeping a record of your credit card files through the software. Does that answer your question? Was there another question that I could address?
I have a couple of questions on reports, but you sent an email.
Okay, if you know, I apologize. I can hear you, but it's very faint. If you could just speak up a little bit, I'd really appreciate it. And yes, of course, I'm happy to answer questions regarding reports.
We're just wondering about sending out an email confirmation for our clients.
Okay, that's part of our Darcy system. Right up here in the upper right-hand corner of your Transcend toolbar, you'll see Darcy. And once Darcy is set up, you do set her up, and we do have classes to learn exactly how to set her up. Once Darcy is set up, then you are able to, for instance, set up your email and or text confirmations. So I can set up an email confirmation and write whatever it is I like. For instance, I could have something like a reminder for Kathy. Hi, Kathy, remember that you have an appointment for a European facial with Sally on January 25th at 11 a.m. Please arrive 15 minutes early to unwind. Now, that's what I've written. And all of these things that have these open carets, service closed caret, or open caret, OP closed caret, those are what we call variables. And if you click the little blue information eye, you can find the variables that you can use so that everybody's appointment reminder is going to be unique to them. It takes the information off of the appointment book itself. So it knows who the customer is, it knows who they're seeing, it knows what service they're getting and at what time they're getting it. And you get to then select how many messages are going to be sent out, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and how many days in advance of their appointment they're going to be receiving it. 1, 2, 3, or 4, up to 7, and you can even do a 0, meaning they will get a reminder on the day of their appointment. Now, when that goes out, it's not just a reminder, it's actually a confirmation. So yes, it's going to say that information that you just saw, remember that you have an appointment for a blankety blankety, etc. But it also has your logo on it, it's got your social networking icons on it, but it's also got a big blue button that says click here to confirm your appointment. And if your customer presses that button, then it will actually mark the appointment confirmed right on your appointment book. And if you were to look into that appointment information, it would show you the date and time that it was confirmed and by whom. Any other questions?
Everybody looks at me about setting up Darcy.
Yeah, you definitely want to take the Darcy class. You know what, as long as I've got you on the line, I want to show you something here. I'm going to go to our website. I'm going to go to support, and I'm going to go to training. Now, here in the support training page on our website, you can sign up for classes. So I click on this button here that says sign up. And yes, there are videos that you can watch as well. There's all sorts of different videos for you to look at. But let's focus on signing up for a class right now. Come on, being a little slow. Go. All right, so you put your name in, your telephone number, your company, in this case, you know, the Cranberry Resort Spa or whatever it may be, and your customer number. If you don't know what it is, you can certainly get it from us. But it's the 5 digits in at the top of your screen. Let me show you here. On my sample here, I've got 150-15811. Don't worry about the numbers before the dash. It is the 5 digits here. That is your company number. That is your account number with us. So that's what you're going to put in right here where it says customer number. Then you put in your email address, and now you get to select your choice of classes. So for instance, today being the 23rd, our next set of classes are on the 26th. We have a beginner's class at 8:30 Pacific. We have an advanced class at 10 a.m. Pacific. We have a Darcy marketing class at 11:30 Pacific. So that's definitely something I would highly recommend you signing up for, because Darcy does a lot of really cool things, including things like your appointment confirmations. And then, of course, we have the online booking and retail class at 1 o'clock that same day. So you can sign up for those at your convenience.
But we can only do that at the resort here. We can't do that in our own home and take our time and do it on our own computers.
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat your question?
But Anita's wondering is if this is something we have to do here at the resort. We cannot do it at home on our own computers.
Oh, no, absolutely. Feel free to do it at home. It's a go-to meeting just like this, and as long as you've put in your email address, then we're going to email you, and that'll have the link and the conference call telephone number to dial into, just like you've done today. And when you receive that, and you usually get it the day before the class, so those classes I believe are on Thursday, so you would get the email on Wednesday, and that can be forwarded to whomever you'd like to forward it to. So you could be in your pajamas at home. As long as you've got a telephone to dial into the conference call and a computer with internet access, you'll be able to click on the link in the email and be part of the class. So you do not have to be present, nor do you have to have the software installed on that computer. In fact, that's kind of a waste only because you're viewing my computer. You're not viewing the software on your computer.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Next question.
Well, what about logins? Because we all have our own separate ID numbers. So I'm finding that when I come in on a shift, the system's already up and running, and it's not asking me to log into my own.
You have to, if you exit, what I understand, if you exit out of the whole system, it says you want to exit out of Pro Solutions, you say yes. The next person that comes in, it should ask.
I've done
It's
that.
not.
I've done that.
So each one of the receptionists is going to have their own.
Okay, if you're using the cloud version of the software, you have login credentials to get into the system. If you're talking about actually accessing the software itself, you know, whatever part of the software, or you know, just launching it, etc., it's asking you for a password. Those are passwords that you've assigned, that somebody there anyway assigned. So we go to Setup, Configuration, General Passwords, and I'm not even sure if I remember what mine is. Like I said, I wasn't even sure. Let's see here. Hang on, because I never use passwords in demos. There we go. Okay, so I did know what it was. So you can create passwords with their own powers. Everyone can have their own unique password. Some of them can do things that others can't, etc. And also you can use those passwords to prevent even access into the software itself. If you're saying that you know, it's coming up too often, or every time you get out, someone, you know, you've got to put your password in again, you are able, when you give yourself a password, you're also able to give yourself an effective time. And that effective time can go from no time all the way to an hour. So that if you put your password in, you won't have to put it in for anything for up to an hour. Unless your password doesn't have the right to get into something that you were trying to get into, it will ask for another password and it will clear out what you had.
I'm just curious as to, sorry, I'm trying to think about this before I say it. Why does it come up so many times for us to have to constantly log in if we're not going into anything where we require the password?
Well, probably because your password has a time limit on it, and it's probably a very short time limit. If you do something that your password is allowing you to do, it will actually reset your password as well, your password time as well. So let's say, for instance, that you have a password to process sales, okay? And in other words, you have to put in your username and password in order to process a sale. And let's say that your password time is 3 minutes. Well, if you don't process a sale in 3 minutes, then the next time you go to process a sale, it's going to ask you to put your username and password in again. If your password was set at an hour, as long as you processed at least one transaction every hour, it would never ask you for it again. It'll just reset the time. So I think what's happening is that for whatever it is you're doing, your time frame set on your password is too low.
Yeah, right now it's set at 45 minutes. You had it happen this week.
It hasn't asked me at all yesterday.
No, it should be. It should be 45 minutes. Yeah, I've already gone in, and Michelle's only one that has password as of right now, and hers is set up at 45 minutes.
45 minutes? That seems like a fairly good amount of time for a password. But again, if she were to click on any button that her password does not allow her to be in, it will clear it and require it again. As long as she's doing things that her password is allowing, then it'll either be every 45 minutes, or, as I said, in the case of transactions, and the reason we do that is so that the front desk staff doesn't have to constantly put in their password again, it'll simply reset so that she puts it in once in the morning, and as long as she does at least one transaction every 45 minutes, it shouldn't ask her for it again.
Okay, so now.
But again, if she presses any button whatsoever that her password is not allowed to do, it'll tell her that she's not authorized for that, and it will ask for a password that is authorized. But that also means that it's cleared out her password, so the next time she goes to do something that she is authorized to do, she'll have to put in her username and password again.
Okay.
And if you do it too many times,
Yeah. So
Also, when passwords are activated, there is another button up top that says clear password. Obviously, if you press that, it does just that. It clears your password, and anybody would have to put in their password again to do whatever it is they want to do from that point forward.
My question is, but why does it have to keep coming up? We're already logged in and we're doing within our means. Why do we have to keep re-signing in?
Right.
What exactly is it asking you? You say you're signing in again. Are you talking about exiting the software and then trying to get back in, and it's asking for a username and password again?
No, there's no exiting. Like sometimes if I'm going to process a sale, it'll ask me for my password and my username, which is fine, and then I'll enter it in, and then I'm good to go. But I just don't understand why you having to ask me again to put in that information. Like, I don't understand why it has to keep popping up every few minutes. It's not 45 minutes.
Okay, well, as far as the software is concerned, again, first of all, there are time frames. Also, there is, if you were to click on something that you don't have the authority to do, it's going to clear it as well. Also, if you press the button to clear the password, it's going to clear it again, and so you have to put it in again as well. Also, and I know you said, your time frame is longer than that, but again, if you are processing a credit card and you are using our preferred provider, you must use a username and password every time you want to process a credit card. That's part of PCI DSS standards. Unfortunately, there's no way around that. So there's, also another thing that you need to understand is that whoever set up your passwords may have put passwords on a whole lot of things, and maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they should have given you a lot more rights than you have, and and they've just password protected, every button in here. And if that's the case, well, you can clean that up, of course. If you know what your master password is, you can go in and change all of that. I don't know how you guys set up your passwords, but if it is set up properly and it is not working properly, then that's something that you would want to take up with technical support.
no, it's working fine. It's every 45 minutes. If they haven't touched the computer in 45 minutes, ask again. Other than that, it's working fine. No,
I've had a
and
problem.
Allison and I worked on it all night Saturday night, and I don't think we had to log in last night. So it's working within what it's required.
Is it just the sales that you're having
It's everything.
the issue with?
Almost every button in the software can be password protected, and there are some people who are very, very strict about it, and they password protect just about every single button in there. So everywhere you go, especially if it's a low time frame, let's say like no time. A no time is 6 seconds. Then that means that every time you press a button, you're going to be asked for your username and password, which can be extremely cumbersome. But that's entirely up to you how you want your password set up.
No, we've got it set up for 45 minutes. It's just a few reports the receptionists are not allowed access to, but the rest of the system you're allowed.
I had a problem a few times. I don't know if it's really different now, but where I'm trying to do the reports at the end of the day and it says access denied, but that allows me to go in and print them anyways. So is that our problem or the software?
From the other
If it says access denied, it shouldn't be allowing you in, unless you are then putting in a password that does have the rights. But what may happen is this. Somebody else's password may be already active in the system. So let's say that you've got Jane and Joan there, and Joan is a manager, okay? And Joan goes to go to reports, let's say, but Jane's password is in the system currently and active. So Joan goes to reports that Jane doesn't have access to, and it says access denied. So then Joan puts in her username and password, and she's in, because Joan's password, username and password, was authorized. But Jane's wasn't, and Jane's was active at the time that you clicked on that button. So it would deny you access because it thinks you're Jane. Then when you put in Joan's username and password, it lets you in. So that's probably what's happening there. Again, if it's set up properly and you're using it properly, and yet you are getting these types of errors, that's something for technical support. But there are explanations for what you're describing, legitimate explanations that are not bugs or glitches.
So maybe we can just go through the different users that are in the system, maybe with customer service, or I'm not sure how it works, Mac, on your side, but just go through what security levels each has, or if that's something maybe that you can see as well in the configuration that you showed before, just to make sure that everything is set up properly, if that's really just a setup issue.
Yeah, but the thing that you would need to do is this. You would have to type in a password that somebody uses. And now let me just see if I... Okay, yeah, so I've got one here for myself. So here's a password, and then I can go into, say, general, and everything that is blue, it has been password protected using the master password. Matthew's password is not the master, it's Matthew's password. And this says that Matthew can get into reports, but he cannot get into utilities or setup. The things that are not blue, that are grayed out, are not password protected at all. So he can get into them and it won't even ask for a password. Whereas reports will ask for a password and it'll let him in. Utilities will ask for a password and it won't let him in. And setup will ask for a password and it won't let him in because they're not checked. So, and you can do that throughout just about everything in the software. Again, everything that I've got grayed out does not need a password. Everything that is blue not only needs a password, but if it's not checked, then it won't allow me in. It will deny me access. And there's just an awful lot to choose from.
Yeah, I think I've got the one receptionist set up correctly now. And now I just have to copy that onto the other receptionist.
Yeah, and you can absolutely do that. You can copy them. So for instance, if I said that I wanted this very same power to be given to somebody else, then I would hit copy. And then I would put in a brand new password, choose who they are, put in my effective time, put in their username, and accept it.
Okay, so
Then
sorry,
that would have been matched to, so I'm going to do one, I'm going to say Juliet 1 is my new password, and I'm going to say that that is going to work for Pamela for no good reason. Maybe Juliet's her daughter's name, and her username is Pamela, and accept. So what I have just done by pressing copy and then going through that process, I have now said that all the rights that Matthew has, Pamela now has. But Pamela is going to be using her password, which was Juliet 1, and Matthew will be using his password, which is Matthew 1. Now, the only reason that I have Matthew 1 or Juliet 1 is because every password must have a minimum of 7 characters and have at least 1 letter and at least 1 number.
okay, so Matt, can I just ask you again, just to clarify? So the receptionist that I have set up, I put in her password, operator, the time.
That's right. You put in her password, press enter, and you should see her name appear. If you typed in her password and hit enter and her name appeared, then you know that you have put in her password correctly, and now you can hit copy. And then you will put in a new password, choose a new operator, effective time and username, and then accept. And by doing that, you have now transferred all, not transferred, but copied all of the rights that she had and given them to someone else as well, but with a different password. That way you can audit it. You can see what Pamela did as opposed to what Matthew did, as opposed to what Jane did, as opposed to what Joan did, because they're not using the same passwords, even if they have the same rights.
Well, that just took like hours off my day tomorrow, so thank you.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, no, I just said that just took literally hours off my day tomorrow because I had 3
Oh,
more.
good. I'm glad to hear that. Are there any other questions that I can help you with?
I don't know if it's you, so the one with the square.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, wait list. So we've got a cancellation list?
There's
Like
one
to look at the wait list?
I would. We'd like to know how to utilize the wait list or cancellation list, we call it.
And can it give us a reminder?
Okay, so let's talk about the wait list. First things first, we need to place people on the wait list, but of course we only want to do that if somebody is busy. So for instance, I'm, Anna here, and just about everybody on my appointment book, is pretty much wide open. But she does have this one appointment that's already here. But for the most part, she's wide open. So this isn't really a workable person to put on a wait list. However, let's pretend that tomorrow Anna was just booked solid, just completely booked solid. So what I would do is I would go to the wait list and I would place on the wait list. First, I choose my customer, whoever they may be. Then I say who it is they want to see. She wants to see Anna. Then there will be a list of services that Anna offers, and she would like a laser chest. When does she want to come in? Now, I can choose multiple dates. Anna might be booked solid from today till the end of Friday. So I could do that then. I could say from today to, say, put in a, here, let me go to my calendar here, and say Friday. So now from today to Friday, and you'll notice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are all now checked. And then I could say what time she would like to come in, maybe 10 a.m. And no, she would like to leave no later than 3 p.m. So now it's going to look for things within that frame. And I could put in a note like, if something becomes available, call Maria on her cell phone. You know, just a little note for me or something like that. Then I would save that. Now, obviously, Anna's wide open, so I can't do that now. It would just. So what happens then is that once that's saved, whether it be for a single day and a time frame or for multiple days and wide open, if I unbook or reschedule an appointment for Anna within a time that somebody was waiting, then a pop-up window will come up and say, Maria Cadabat is waiting for this time, and it will give telephone numbers that you have for Maria, and it will say, would you like to book this appointment now? If you say yes, it will replace the appointment that you are unbooking or rescheduling with the appointment that Maria wanted. You can also, of course, use that opportunity to pick up the phone and tell Maria that that time has become available, and does she still want it? If she were to say, oh, I didn't think it was actually going to become available today, so I've got myself booked for a tea time, you can hit cancel, and it will put Maria back into the queue so that the next thing that comes available, Maria will be asked for. If there were other people in the queue and she didn't want it, you could have hit cancel, and the next person that was waiting would have popped up. As long as what you were waiting for was within that time frame. Say that again?
You do that with a service and not an operator?
No, put the operator in there.
You want to put a service on the waiting list but not an operator? Is that what you said?
Correct, yes.
Okay, well, no. You must choose an operator. And the reason for that is because what we're looking for is an unbooked time for an operator. The operator, of course, can have multiple services that they provide.
Right.
So, you know, you can say, you know, I want to know if somebody unbooks with Anna. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't put the same client on multiple service providers. So if she just wants a massage and she doesn't care who it's with,
Right.
then you could put her on the waiting list for all of your massage therapists if you like.
So if we have a service that different people work and it's the same room and 3 different people work in a day, can we make that service a person?
I apologize. Repeat that question. I missed the first part of it.
Okay. No, I think that would just get too. But then you got to all this information, and you don't know who's working, and you're like,
What is an operator?
Aquapath is an operator, so that
The
will be
rooms
okay.
are operators, but I think you have to put the actual Aquapath in.
when you book the appointment, it's with Amber or with like whoever. It's not Aquapath, and then this is the person working, this is the person working. So if they say, well, any Saturday, Sunday, or Monday for the next 6 months, I'll pick up, like I'll do any one of those days. Just call me when it becomes available. You would have to technically
You have to do
every single person working in it. And that seems
It does.
not very user-friendly.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you. We were hoping for a different answer, but that's okay.
All right. What's your next question?
I think that's, anybody else have any other?
I have just a minor question. So when a client is running late for an appointment and reception can be busy running around doing something, is there a way that the appointment can come up and sort of like a pop-up block can come up and say, oh, this appointment hasn't been checked in yet and they're running late 5 minutes, and then that can let us know to call them? Like, is there any way that a service could let us know that an appointment's running behind?
Let you know that a client is running behind. Well, I can tell you this. When you are going through the point of sale, you can certainly check people out right from the appointment book by right-clicking on their appointment and say check out. It'll open up your register and allow you to process them out. Let me go ahead and get that out of there. If I was in the point of sale screen, I also have this drop-down. Everybody that has an appointment with me today that has not yet checked out will be listed, and they will be listed in order of checkout or in alphabetical order. It's entirely up to you. I've got mine set up in order of checkout. So Sandra should be the next person checking out. Now, if Judy were to check out and I if she come up to the front desk to check out and I see Sandra and Haley here, well then I already know immediately that we may have an issue. Not necessarily, because they may be checking out at a very similar time, maybe even the same time, because they all got 1 hour appointments at 11 o'clock. But if that's the case, then these two should be checking out very, very soon. If that's not the case, if they don't come up, of course, you can always go into that client file. You can contact them to find out what's going on, where they are, et cetera. Also, at the end of the day, you're able to run a report to show every appointment that was booked but did not check out.
I think what she means is if it's like 5:01, their appointment's at 5, and she just took a whole bunch of people back and didn't realize, can there be an option where that client that's supposed to have already checked in isn't there yet? Like, can it change color, or is it just up to us to be looking at the computer all the time?
Could the computer send us an alert saying client's running 5 minutes late for the appointment?
No. No, you can set up a pop-up note, but somebody would have to manually put in a pop-up note that says anything, you know, give this client a 10% discount, or this client is running late, whatever it may be. If you were to pull them up for any reason, you would see that pop-up note. But no, the software is not going to automatically let you know that somebody is running late. What it might do, however, is when I go to check somebody out, like Miss Babbitt's here, and let's say I'm going to check her in first, you'll notice it says this client is 1 hour and 39 minutes late for check-in. When I go to check her in, because it's a 12 o'clock appointment, it's letting me know just exactly how late she is for check-in. But no, it's not
When you're going to do
automatically pop up. I can also, when I do that, send a text message directly to her operator. So I could pretty easily go through, okay, it's already 1:40, so I'm going to find everybody who's not checked in or checked out, and you can see very easily a line through for check-in, 2 lines for checkout, and I'm going to quickly send a message to my operator that says something like, your client is running late and we just called them and they said they'd be here in 10 minutes. You know, you could do something like that and they would get a text message in that case. But again, that's something that you're doing manually. The software is not going to automatically pop up and give you that information.
Okay, so just when you were on an actual client, what did you click there to go right to checkout? Sorry.
So I right-click and I select check out or check in.
All right, thank you. I never even thought of checkout.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Never even tried it before. Okay.
I apologize. Was there a question or I got
That,
lost?
that's fine. That's fine. Then I just have a couple of questions about reports, if you have a minute.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So we're looking for a report on how to, sorry, I have to make sure it's clear. They want to know, the GM wants to know the type of service and the numbers per hour for room utilization. It's very, very detailed report they're looking for. They want to know, they want to know basically what services are utilizing the rooms for every hour of the time we're open.
What services for every hour? Repeat the question.
Well, we're open 70 hours a week, and right now they want to be able to view a report that shows what services are being used, are being booked for every hour that we're open.
What services are being booked for every hour that you're open?
I guess he wants to know how many massages are being run through at certain times of the day, as opposed to how many facials are being put through.
like all the services that you print out at the end of the night, but it would say the time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard that one before, so I'm just going to I'm going to give it a whirl here and see if I can find out. What I would recommend is that you go to live chat. They are much more familiar with all of the reports. That one I'm not familiar with. You know, people talk about all sorts of different reports, and I know quite a few of them. There are over 300 different reports in the system, and but you know, let's just take a look at what we've got here. So this is a staffing analysis for massage. I did it by group. Room utilization. So I've got hours available on each day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and these are the hours available. These are the hours scheduled, and this is based on scheduled available. Hours booked, hours booked available, pretty low because I'm using sample data and I've only got a few appointments booked. So hours available, it gives you a key. It tells you exactly what it is. So the total number of hours that rooms in the selected group are open, the total number of hours that operators in the selected group are scheduled to work, the total number of hours that operators in the selected group are booked for appointments, the total number of hours operators are booked divided by the total number of rooms that are open. And now this is for a group. Each one of your groups is going to be different. You've got waxing, you've got massage, you've got facials, you've got hair, whatever your groups are. So this is done by group, not by an individual service.
Right.
So that may not be exactly what you're looking for, but
No, I wanted that one. They said no, that wasn't what they wanted. That's okay. That's
okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's that information, and like I said, there's also, you can see certainly how many of individual services were done based on who was selling what and by your providers and what your providers sold that day, whether it be product or services, whatever it may be, that they got credit for. And it'll give you totals, it'll give you numbers, there's all sorts of different things like that. I would say that if you have a very specific report that you have not been able to find, the easiest thing for you to do is going to go to live chat and click here where it says live chat available, and within 15 seconds you're going to be communicating with a technical support representative. Tell them exactly what information you're looking for, and if it is already a report, then they will be able to direct you to that very report, exactly where to go. Go to inventory, go to retail inventory, then go to activity reports, et cetera, et cetera. They'll tell you exactly where to go to find that report. If it is not a report that is already created, they may be able to create it for you using the data miner. The data, because our software is in SQL, they are able to actually, as long as the data is being generated by the software, in other words, as long as the software is collecting that information, then it can be turned into a report, even if there's not already a report for it. They can actually create a custom report for you right in your software. And that custom report can be saved so that you can run that report anytime you'd like. You don't have to ask us to create it for you every time you want to use it.
Okay, that's perfect.
So that's definitely what I would recommend you doing. Go to live chat to talk to them about that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, one last question. I have a series of reports that I send off every Monday. Is there any way to have them automatically sent to emails where I'm sending them, as opposed to doing it myself? Because they would like them on Mondays, and I'm not in on Mondays. So they have to wait till Tuesday, so they were wondering if they could get them just set up automatically to get fired off to them.
Okay. So you want them to get their schedule? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, that would be great too. But no,
I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's just a little bit cloudy with when you're talking. So I apologize. I'm going to really focus here. Please state your request again.
So let's say every Monday I have to send the sales report. I have to send it to 2 different people and via email.
Okay.
What they're wondering is, can it be just sent out to automatically generate without me having to go in and do it every Monday?
Okay. There are a very small group of reports that are going to be automatically generated by the software and sent out. That's in Darcy. When you go to your notifications, for instance, the schedule every night can be emailed to your staff. The closing report will be emailed to the boss every night. The end of day sales report will be emailed to the boss every night, and also the sales detail with client names can be emailed to your staff every night, showing them what they got credit for. Those are only if those are checked, and when you set up Darcy, you put in the owner's email address and the owner's email address too. So if you have something like, I want the owner to get the closing report every night, then whatever email addresses you put in here every night, that owner will get that closing report. That owner will get the end of day sales report. But those are the only 2 that are going to be sent out automatically each evening to the owner's email addresses here. So whether you put in an HR department email or an actual owner's email or both, then that's where it's going to go each night. Your staff can get something a little bit different. Your staff, you have their email address here, and this bookings one here means that every time you book, unbook, or reschedule an appointment for them, they will be instantly notified via email that that has just taken place, what change has been made. This one that says schedule is the one where every night they will receive their schedule for the following day, just their schedule, of course, nobody else's. And this one, every night, that staff member will get a report showing what sales they got credit for that day. You don't have to use any of them. You can use all three of them or a combination of that. The closing report and the end-of-day sales report can be generated every night for management, but only up to 2 emails.
Okay. Not once a week, though. Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
No, I think we're pretty good.
All right. Well, I hope that you found this informative, and I don't want you to forget that you have free technical support and free training during regular business hours. At any time, you can either click on the live chat or you can call our 800 number, and you can speak to a technical support representative or a trainer with a, you have a question, ask it. You're never going to be charged for it during regular business hours. May I ask, where are you located in the country again?
Collingwood, Ontario? Canada.
Ventura?
No, Canada?
Oh, Canada. Canada. I'm sorry. And what's your time zone?
Eastern.
Eastern time zone. Okay. So then I want you to know that from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, so for those 4 days, you get 10 hours of free tech support and training. That's Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. your time if you're Eastern time zone. If you are calling on Friday, you get 5 hours, and that's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. your time. And if you're contacting us on Saturday using live chat, you have 4 hours of free training and tech support, and that's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So 4 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Friday, and 10 hours on Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. So if you have any questions at all, please give us a call or use the live chat and get your question answered. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, Mark Anthony, I think is his name. We're well acquainted at this point from live chat.
Well, I can tell you live chat is very, very popular. We get about 35 live chats for every 1 phone call.
Okay, yeah.
Especially because live chat has an average hold time of about 15 seconds and the telephone has an average hold time of about 9 minutes.
Yeah, I've used both. Live chat's quite quick. Okay,
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, I said I've used both, but live chat is quite quick.
Good, good.
Okay, I don't think we have any further questions at this point.
All right. Well, then I want to thank you guys for spending some time with me. And I don't want you to think that this is the last time. If you feel like we need to do something like this again, all you need to do, call the 800 number, go to extension 101, and her name is Jesseline. She handles the calendar for trainers, and she can schedule additional time. Or feel free to call Gail if you have any questions on how the software is going to work with IQware.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Matt.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.